for staying tuned to A Deeper You. Thank you for all your comments and your words of encouragement. Tonight we have another super guest, and her name is Dr. Janae Bishop. We welcome you, Dr. Bishop.
Oh, thank you. It's a blessing to be here.
Yeah, we're just honored that you graced us with your presence.
Oh, well, God bless you.
So we want to share this great woman of God, and this is the month of March, and we're talking about strong women. Women that have vision, not only have vision, but women that execute those visions into maturity. So tonight we're going to hear about one of those women. So,
Yes.
Dr. Janae, tell us how many organizations do you have?
Oh, my
And
goodness.
share a little bit about each one.
Well, thank you so much. So Boots to Breakthrough LLC was a company that I began just a year ago this month, actually. So I feel thrilled that to be brought here. And it was inspired by about 3 years ago. My husband, he used to be a veteran, and he had passed away suddenly in his sleep of a heart attack. At that time, he was a school administrator in Georgia, as was I. And so when I made the decision that I had to make a transformation in my life, go through a transition and decide where was the rest of my life, because we had planned so many things together. So I decided to leave the principalship at the end of the year. I was now a widow, empty nester, leaving where I've lived for 22 years, coming into an area that I was going to have to create a whole new network. And so I thought about what in my life was the one time where I felt like I was blossoming. And it was when I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and Columbia, the basic training. And basic training, that's right. Now I'm on a basic training for life.
Okay.
But it was an amazing experience. I left that experience feeling that I can accomplish anything. So when the Lord revealed to me, name my company Boots to Breakthrough, it was to convey that when we put on our boots, just like us as soldiers, it was to prepare us for the terrain going ahead. And in 2014, I wrote a book, How Much Joy Is in Your Journey. So here is the Lord sharing with me the name Boots to Breakthrough. And then I just finished the book, How Much Joy Is in Your Journey. And I said, I'm going to tie up my boots for this new journey and make a breakthrough. And in the course of doing that, I did some research and came across some interesting things about how other women can also make that breakthrough as they transition through traumatic times as well as happy times in their lives.
That is awesome. Now, what population do you serve?
Well, yeah, so I'm a veteran as well. I served in the Army. I started out enlisted and became a captain, and I also served as a military spouse. My husband was a Army officer and was stationed at Fort Bragg for a good while, and I'm a mother of two vets. Had two proud sons. So we're a family of service, and so the population that I started out serving in this area were women who were military connected, helping them to transition from military service to civilian life. I was listening to the news the other day, and it was sharing that the percentage of female vets who unfortunately feel such despair that they commit suicide is higher than the civilian rate of women. So one of the things that I realized was that so often we need help and support to understand how do we recreate our lives after living our life a certain way. And those were all of the experience I had, moving from New York to the South, being a civilian to the military, single, married, then widowed. But I'm like any other woman, any guest that you may have probably have mentioned about transitions. But the challenging thing is, how do we transition successfully from one experience to another? Yes, ma'am.
You remind me of the Ever Ready Bunny.
Oh,
she's always moving, and it's always positive.
I try to. We can't live a positive life focusing on negativity. So we got to focus on the things that are happening right and maximize those things. Because if today was our last day, how would we live life differently? And I remember hearing someone say, if someone had given you $20 million and you knew you only had 10 years to live, which all of us, our lives are finite, then how would you live your life differently? And so with the Breakthrough 8 principles that I talk about and teach about in Boots to Breakthrough, that's one of the things that I try to help people to see and understand, that right now, the present is the only thing that's guaranteed. We have to remember that that everything is precious, and we can't change the past. We can project the future, but we have no control over it. But this moment in time, how do we make it the best that we can? And so I encourage women especially to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
That's phenomenal. Do you work with low-income families? You work with middle class, or how is it a mixture?
It's a mixture. It's across the gamut. I've seen women who felt and described themselves as having everything, and then
Okay.
suddenly, whether it's a divorce or becoming a widow, and they finally find themselves like I did, you know, coming from a two-income family to now a single-income family, and what does that mean? And then for myself, being a mother of two sons who are now grown,
Right.
my economic challenges would be different than someone who has lost a spouse and they still have school-age children. So we all experience different challenges and transitions. And then, of course, a woman who is in her 20s is going to have a different experience than somebody in their 50s or 60s.
Yes, definitely.
And but either way, we can make it an exciting experience. And I try to encourage women to realize that it's never too late to recreate.
So, you know, I love that. Because, you know, I'm challenged with these, my eyes.
Oh, bless you.
So a lot of times, too many more than I want to expect,
Yes.
I was totally blind. So that changed, and especially, I do a lot of things.
Yes.
So how do you readjust? And I'm telling myself, okay, how are you going to see when you can't see?
Yes.
And you need to see because of the things that you do.
Right.
So that can be traumatic. You know, it can
Absolutely.
Really be. One of the things that helped me was my mom.
Oh my.
She
beautiful.
is she's 90 now, but she is a
What a
go-getter,
Uh-huh.
and she would never let me stop. Like, Sissy.
Beautiful.
I said, well, Ma, I can't see. She said, is that an excuse?
Yes.
Well, find a way to see what you need to. Just make sure you bring me what I need you to bring me.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm like, okay. So that forced me to have to use whatever I had inside of me.
That's
But she
right.
would not let me say, you're not weak.
Wow.
And I thought about Ray Charles' movie.
Yes, exactly
Yeah,
right.
exactly. That just hit my face, my brain again.
I bet.
Like, yeah, when every time I look at that movie, I'm like, this is real. People that are not blind, they don't understand that it's
Oh,
really
my.
real.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And you know, something, as I listen to you, what resonates with me is that some people would look at that condition as being disabled,
Yes.
but in all actuality, you're just differently
Different.
able.
Okay.
You are differently
Key.
able because you have so many gifts and
Yeah.
talents that have blessed the world, and it didn't rely on your physical vision, but your
right.
vision of discernment
Exactly.
and your spiritual being.
Key.
Okay.
Girl, okay. and that's really true.
Yes, it is.
Because I have a prophetic gift.
Yes, you do.
And so the Lord calls me Young One.
Ooh,
Okay.
oh
And the first name He gave me was like Young One, and I'm like, okay. So I had to learn to listen. You know, and when I panic, because if I'm someplace I don't know, or my baby's not with me, Megan, you know,
Yes.
she's always my bodyguard. I'm like, the Lord said, why are you hyper?
Yes.
What's wrong with you, Young One?
Yes.
Like, quiet down, feel your space,
Yes.
feel your air, and don't
Yes.
panic.
That's right.
And so that brings me back to a place like, okay, so what I need to do now? You know, so you get that calm spirit. One of the reasons I love you is
Oh.
because you are energized, Bunny, and I'm not playing about that.
Thank you.
You have a way of lighting up a room.
Thank you.
People that are broken, you have a way of giving them hope.
Oh.
And that's a major thing.
Oh my goodness, I feel blessed, and of course I'm just a vessel for God,
Right.
you know, and so I'm just thankful. With what I do with Boots to Breakthrough, I try to introduce to people that there are 8 principles to living a holistic and a full life, because so often as professional
Yes,
women,
yes.
we're burning the candle on both ends,
ends, yes.
and if you don't take time to see if the other areas of your life are synchronized, then you
Right.
burn out in the middle.
That's true.
So there was research created back in 1976 by the National Wellness Institute, Dr.
Okay.
Bill Hetler,
Oh.
and what they talked about at that time was, what are the stages in life that helps a person live their best life?
Right.
And now, from 76 to now, they started off with 5, and now there's 8, and some places say even more.
Oh, wow.
So we have spiritual wellness, which of
Okay.
course, you know, you're
We
deep.
understand that one.
Yes, spiritual wellness, physical wellness,
Wellness.
emotional wellness, environmental wellness, social wellness, which involves your professional and personal
Personal.
relationships, intellectual wellness, continued learning like
Yeah,
this experience,
right.
occupational wellness, are you working within an area that is your purpose, that you feel you're giving back to the world?
Right.
And then there's financial wellness. That was one of the more recent ones that's been added.
Right.
And so I try to share with people through my trainings that you can set goals for your life
Right.
based on achievements in all of those 8 dimensions to make the breakthrough in your own life. And that's what I've had to infuse in my life during these last 2.5 years of recreating myself after our family changed.
Wow.
Yes.
We're going to be blessed to have Dr. Bishop at Al Diaspora conference that's coming
Yes.
up in June. It's going to be June the 10th through June the 22nd, and we'll be bringing her back.
Awesome.
And we're going to invite you guys to come out
Please come.
and hear this great woman of God give her 8 topics. Can
Yes.
you go over them one more time?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So the 8 dimensions of wellness reflects, it's not one thing at a time that works in your life, because so often they can all be interconnected. So there's spiritual wellness, which revolves around how do you get yourself balanced. For some people it may be religion, for others it may be practicing meditation, yoga. Then there's physical wellness, and of course when we all think of wellness, we think of health and exercise, but in all actuality, sometimes if individuals do not feel spiritually connected or they're emotionally disconnected, that can affect their physical well-being. Of course, emotional wellness is based on what are those things that you are doing to help you feel grounded. And a lot of times, particularly in my community, our community, African American community, you could be struggling emotionally and then you don't reach out to get help.
True.
I can remember growing up and hearing my older generation say, you're strong. You don't need to get counseling or therapy or coaching, but it's so important. And so emotional. When I realized last year that I needed to go through my own grief my own grief experience, that was when I became unstuck and was able to really begin to propel my business forward. But I had to work on the grief. If you don't work on the grief in your life, whether it's divorce or loss of a child or loss of a loved one, then the grief will work on you and it will hold you back from achieving.
And we're back with Dr. Janae Bishop. This woman of God is so interesting. She loves the Lord.
Yes.
She's not religiously sickly. No. Very down to earth. And we get ready to go back into the discussion of her 8 methods. And again, she's going to be with us in June.
I'm so excited.
And
yes.
we'll have her back way before then. To talking. We want to invite you to come out to that seminar.
Please.
The African nation is going to be there with us. We have 5 countries from Africa, from participants that's going to be coming. And it's something that this woman of God teaches that will empower you. Okay? So let's get back to it.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. I'm so excited. First and foremost, thank you for inviting me to be a part of what you'll be doing in June. I just give God the praise to be able to serve in some way.
Your name was at the top of the list.
Oh my goodness. So before we went on break, I had shared about emotional wellness, and then there's environmental wellness, and that's one of the newest principles that have been added. And what the research talks about is that oftentimes we can become well or ill based on our environment. So for myself, when I was a principal, I had low lighting in the office. My students can hear the water running in the background. I believe in aromatherapy. And even at home, yes, I know you got those essential oils. I think it's so powerful in order to be able to help you in your spiritual sense and your emotional sense. But the research also talks about what are you doing for your community as it relates to environment. Are you recycling, all those kinds of things. So then there's also social wellness, which deals with your professional and personal relationships. Any person who has become successful in life, they did it on the shoulders of their ancestors, for one, the people before us. But in addition to that, it's all based on relationships, just like you and I meeting. And she actually prophesied to me the first time I met her way back in the fall. And yes, you did, and it was powerful. So it goes back to relationships. I think we can mention or may even know of a number of women where the personal relationships were kind of shaky and it affected other aspects in their life. And then there's the intellectual wellness, which deals with the fact that in life we have to keep growing and learning. And when we keep growing and learning, then we can create a legacy that we're able to give to our kids and the next generation, and there's a richness there. And then finally, there is the financial wellness. And what the research says about that is that not everyone has to strive to become millionaires or billionaires, although it would be nice,
Very nice.
Exactly. But what really matters is, are you aware of where you need to be to live financially comfortable so that you can live the life of your dreams? And so one of the things that is so important is that in order for us to continue to thrive, we have to make sure we set up our lives so that we're not just surviving. And the Breakthrough 8, these principles enables us to thrive rather than just surviving and live our life in totality.
You know what? What you're saying is so powerful. My background is kind of diverse, and working with low income people, a lot of times they would need something like this.
Yes.
Because you're stuck in a place and you can only see that place because it's become your reality.
Absolutely.
Right? And I remember in the housing authority when I went, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a challenge. You have to just get over the environment itself.
Absolutely.
And they said, Miss E, what are you trying to do here? I said, help you.
Yes.
Yeah, help you.
Yes.
So you can do much better. And Before I left, I had 5 families that left housing. I went and negotiated at the bank for them,
Yes.
so I used to work with them with their credit and everything. And they overbuilt in one of the areas down there. Beautiful,
Wow.
like $250,000 homes.
Yes.
And some of the people in the housing were making $40,000 a year
Isn't
at
that
that time. It's
something?
back in the 90s, and that was a lot for that
I
time.
was about to say, yes.
So why are you living in housing?
Yes.
You know, it's just a generational thing that you think it, no. So we work with them, and Megan was just telling me recently that she met 2 of the people when we went back in the area about a
Wow.
month ago,
Yes.
and they still have their home, and they're about 2 or 3 years from paying it.
That's awesome.
The bank
awesome.
is, I'm serious, and it's the mentality.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yes.
and people like you that have the energy,
Oh,
You
thank
know?
you. Thank you.
because your energy projects, and it gravitates to people and say, wake up, wake up, wake up.
But you know what? I give God the praise
Yeah.
because, you know, I came from the projects in New York City, 125th Street in Amsterdam, right down the street from the Apollo Theater.
Oh,
And-
wow.
Yes, and I remember one time someone had heard me speak years ago, and they said, "Oh, you must be ghetto fabulous." Then you came from, and I said, "No, I'm just
Oh,
fabulous." Being from the
Exactly.
being from the projects doesn't
Right.
mean that
No.
you have a limited perspective, but when you have individuals like you
Yeah.
who are feeding into you, then you can see the possibilities.
Exactly.
And even though you might not be able to leave your environment at that
Right.
time, when you are able to leave it, you'll realize that you were more than your environment. So yes,
Oh,
everything
wow.
I've done has been as a result of living in the projects in New York, and I know that the Lord brought me through, me and my
Girl.
family.
And you're just so fantastic. Blossom way out.
I give God the
That
praise.
is a blessing.
Oh, thank
That
you,
is a
thank
blessing.
you.
My kids used to tell me all the time, Mommy, could you please stay out the ghetto? You're gonna get us killed, okay?
It's
You're fighting for
dangerous,
everybody's
yes.
cause. Right? I'm like, well, you have to give these kids encouragement.
You
They
do.
don't have to stay there. They
That's
can come
right.
out of there.
That's right. You never know if that one seed you
Well,
plant,
exactly.
you may not see it flourish and take root, but like you said, when you go back and you see that someone has
Oh,
flourished,
yeah.
then you realize, wow, I had something to do with that.
Right.
You know, and what was that phrase? I think I saw it in the commercial somewhere, you know, each one, reach one, and
Right.
teach one.
Exactly.
You know, we all need to realize that our purpose in life is to leave this world better than how we found it. And you
Right.
do that by pulling someone else along. When blessed, be a blessing.
And that's true.
Yes, ma'am.
That is so true. I remember how I've always gone through this blindness thing, right? So
Wow.
how kids were nice to me in school. They would, if I dropped my glasses, I couldn't see my glasses.
Bless
Or
your
I
heart.
dropped my lens and I couldn't see my lens.
Yes.
And everyone would drop to the floor. I was like, stop, stop.
Wow.
And they would drop to the floor and say, she's looking for a lens. And they would help me find my lens. And
Isn't that something?
it's empowering.
It is.
It's
It
empowering
really is.
how we do that. Have joy. Tell
Have
us
joy.
about that company.
Oh my goodness. So Have Joy was the first company that I developed.
Okay.
And of course my husband was with us at the time. And I used to do leadership training on how do you live a life with more joy.
Right.
And so, and my book was published through that company, Have Joy. My book is titled, and it's on Amazon,
Oh, great.
How Much Joy is in Your Journey, a creative guide to your fearless vision. And people, and the license plate, my license tag is a vanity plate that says Have
Have
Joy.
Joy. Oh my God.
Yeah, so even when I talk now, even though it may be about Breakthrough 8 and the principles of wellness, the reality is that joy comes from the inside. And there's a lot,
Definitely.
well, you know, there's a lot of scripture that attests to joy being a fruit of the Spirit. So now, even after having lost my husband and my life has changed in many ways, I've told women especially that, you know, we drive our car, we have the GPS to tell us where to go. And so GPS is guidance positioning system. And for me,
Wow.
joy is my guidance positioning system. Now, as I move forward, if I get joy from the people that I meet, those are the people I want to surround myself with, the projects I
Key.
participate in.
Listen.
Because if today was that last day, I want to know that I lived it well and lived it fully.
Exactly.
Yes.
You hit a key. The energy
Yes.
around the people that you associate with.
Absolutely.
It's really important.
Absolutely.
Really important.
I heard a leadership trainer say one time that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around most.
Wow.
And I tell my sons that, you know, because they probably have some improvements.
Yeah, right.
And I said, oh my goodness, that's interesting, because just think, the 5 people that you hang around most, what is it that builds your life up
Right.
and help you to feel energized and enthusiastic about accomplishing your mission? And so that's what that, it might have been John Maxwell, now that I think about it, who
He's a great
said,
teacher. I
yes.
sat under him a couple of times.
See,
Yeah.
there you go. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around most, and so we have to evaluate that.
That is so true, because I always tell people, listen, do not accept negativity.
There you go.
So if someone's a
Exactly.
negative around you, you either shortchange them,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
drug in your energy
Yes.
and people say, look, every day is not, the sun is not up every day, Dr. Castle.
That's
I'm
right.
like, yes, it is. So every day that I can see, because I remember the days it be dark. And your
Yes.
environment does make a difference. Because
Oh
when
my
I was
gosh.
blind the first part of last year for 5 months, I'm like, you are not going to be depressed. You're going to make it.
Yes.
So I would force myself. I remember Megan was having heart attacks.
Oh my
She does
gosh.
not like walking
Yes.
steps and things, so she would go in the
Yes.
elevator.
Yes.
I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to go down the steps and I'll meet you in the other part of the hospital. She said, are you crazy?
I know that's right.
I'm like, no, I'm not crazy, but I'm going to do this.
That's right.
So she knew I was going to do it.
Yes.
So I'm trying to remember. I'm like, okay, so I really had to go outside. So I said, okay, count the steps. Little blind girl, learn your little tricks. Count the
that's
steps going down.
amazing.
Went down. I said,
Amazing.
okay, I counted 3 steps, so I'm probably on this level. So I'm like, I don't know Braille or anything like because I refuse to
Wow.
learn it. Right.
Yes.
So I got to this door and I'm trying to feel the air. Okay, so, all right, this is probably the one. So I opened the door and some people were out there and I'm like, what floor am I on? They said, oh, you're on the first floor. I said, thank you, God. I leaned up on the wall like this and said, shh. Megan had made it down from the elevator. So when she finally gets off the elevator,
Yes.
she said, Mommy, I said, I've been waiting for you so long. It took you so long. Like, thank God you're here. Help me get around
Oh,
to the
I know she must have been sweating in that elevator, wondering about
She
your
said that.
outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
But I felt brave. You know, I felt like I
Awesome.
took control.
Yes.
The enemy was not going to just make me be blind.
Yes. Oh my
And
goodness.
So I felt better.
You are such a fearless person, and you know, and the scripture.
Or crazy. We got to take a station break.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned. And we're back with Dr. Janae Bishop. And Dr. Bishop is going to share with us about upcoming events. You might want to get a note and a pen, okay?
Oh my. Well, hopefully once my website is updated even more, I'll have these listed on my website, which is www.bootstobreakthrough.com. But tomorrow I will be speaking for Women's Month at the Martinez Evans Rotary in Evans, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Then Saturday I'll also be speaking in the Empowering the Real You at the Jerry Speaks Conference on this Saturday.
Yes, Jerry.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I see on Facebook all the time.
Oh my goodness. And so I also have this collaboration with Glamour Body Studio, which has opened up in the fall, this young millennial couple, and it's in Somerville. So I will be doing a Living the Golden Life free series once a month at Glamour Body Studio,
Oh, I love it.
so that a small intimate group of women will come in and I will share with them some pearls about taking care of yourself so that you bring your best self to the table, and they get to see this beautiful environment in Somerville, South Carolina.
Awesome.
Also so that's March. In April, I will be speaking at in Arlington, Virginia at the OWLS Talk Conference. And OWLS stands for the Officer Women's Leadership Summit. And I got the email 2 days ago that they have approved me to be one of their speakers to inspire women about wellness. And what's so exciting, you've heard of TED Talks.
Yes,
And so
yes.
OWL Talks is the military version of TED Talks,
Okay.
but it's for women who were in leadership in the military.
Right.
So I'm excited by
Awesome.
that. In June, Sarah Coleman Lee, who is a veteran, she'll be having a conference as well in June, and I'll be one of her speakers then. And so I'm just giving God the praise that that a lot of things are happening. Oh, also, I mentioned earlier that SCORE, which is a
Right.
nonprofit organization that
Exactly.
helps emerging
Right.
businesses,
Right.
they have taken my Breakthrough 8 and using it as a framework for their
Awesome.
program, where they're taking 60 emerging women who are in business and taking them through introducing them to other female entrepreneurs and having me to introduce to them why it's important that they incorporate these 8 principles in their life. So
How do you
Yes.
get in that class?
oh wow, well, you know, they're going to be posting it soon. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Well, because it's I'm so glad that you mentioned. Yes, I should be promoting that and
Promote
Glamour
it.
Body. Oh my goodness. So just go on the SCORE website. I think it's www.score Charleston or Charleston SCORE. and they'll have the application there. They have a survey, which are questions from the 8 dimensions of wellness,
Okay, great.
the Breakthrough 8, so that we can have a pre-test or pre-survey of where women feel they are within those 8 dimensions before they go through this training.
Right.
And then they'll have that same survey again at the end to see how much they've grown as a result of listening to these other inspiring women. I also want to
I'll
share.
participate.
I think you should. And meet all these, other women in the community. Also, just recently launched, our colleague Katrina
Yes.
did the book,
Yes.
If She Can,
If She
okay,
Can.
yes, okay. And so I'm excited to have been invited to participate
That's a
in that. And so that's just the beginning.
You know what? It's when I saw that, and Trina said, "Well, I need you to
Yes.
kick in here." And I'm
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
"Are you serious?" Yeah.
Absolutely,
And I saw
definitely.
you, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah,
Yeah.
we give God the
It's really
praise.
nice. I read. It's beautiful.
Oh, well,
It's
thank
beautiful.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. You know what? The
Really
Lord orders our steps in order for
Yes.
us to be a light for others to continue the journey.
We need more women
We do.
that will encourage more women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if we relied on what we see on TV, many of the reality shows give you the
Yeah.
impression the more intelligent, the more beautiful, the more a woman has got going for her,
Mm-hmm.
then she's dropping expletives and can't get along with her sisters. And I've
That's
never had
it.
an experience
Right.
like that. I've always been surrounded by powerful
Right.
women like you that have inspired me and make me feel, you know what, I think I can do this.
And you can't. I always tell people, "Why are you intimidated?"
oh,
You know,
wow, yes.
but you have a way that makes someone feel comfortable.
I'm glad. I'm
Some
glad.
women that are educated,
Uh-huh.
sometimes they sneezy. And that kind of make people stand off.
Yes.
But you're so down to earth. You're an
Oh.
everyday person with a brilliant brain.
Oh, God
and
bless
that's
you.
a blessing. It's really a blessing.
Well, the way I see it, the same way God gave it to us, He could take it away.
Girl, don't you, just like my site.
That's what I was thinking. As you were talking, I was saying, oh my goodness, all these
Exactly.
things that you
Yeah.
do. And people don't realize
Yeah, they
that
don't.
you do it even with that
Even with
particular
the
struggle.
challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes a person will say, "You didn't speak to me, Dr. Kelson." I said, "Baby, I didn't see you.
How about that?
I really didn't see you." They said,
Yes.
I'm really blind. Okay?
Yes.
But if I feel someone, 'cause
Yes.
if I feel that vibration or something, I'm like, "Oh, is this so and so and so and so?" But yeah, a lot of times we don't understand that people have disabilities
Yes.
that aren't totally obvious. If you look at my eyes, you can see one's cocky and one's not. But something's going on.
Yes.
But they have no idea how serious my sight is, my
Oh,
situation.
that is amazing.
Yeah. But I'm
inspired by
people
you.
like you, and I'm inspired by you.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
am. It's a real blessing. And Trina has a way of just pushing people out there.
Doesn't she though?
I think she called me, Megan called me and said, Trina said you'll be speaking at SCORE. And I'm like, really?
Yes.
And like, what's the topic? She said, it's spirituality. I said, oh, now we can do this.
That's exactly right. That is.
We can do this. Oh my goodness, look, I love you. We've had a great time today.
Oh, it's been a
We're going to
blessing.
have you back before June.
That would be
okay? That's a
wonderful.
promise.
Yes.
And we want you to stay in touch with the things that Dr. Bishop is doing. Give us your
Please
address
do.
real quick again.
Yes, so you can find out more about me on www.bootstobreakthrough.com.
Great.
Yes.
We've enjoyed you today. Why don't you tell me what you want to hear on A Deeper You?
Yes.
You'll have all the information at the end of the show. Write me, call me. Let me give you the number, 843-767-8759. A Deeper You. You all have a beautiful and blessed day.